Welcome to the debate. So when we think about physical health, we understand the concept of an immune system perfectly, right? A pathogen enters, the body recognizes it and neutralizes it.
Right. It doesn't just wait for a full-blown infection to react.
Exactly. And today we are asking a critical question for young professionals navigating, well, potentially toxic work environments. Is setting ironclad boundaries an essential psychological defense, or does it, actually destroy the social cohesion you need to thrive?
Yeah, and we're exploring this through the framework of the compliance audit. Coming at this from a corporate management perspective, I argue that strictly penalizing these behaviors assumes a malicious intent that usually just isn't there.
Right. Whereas as a psychologist, my stance is that covert aggressors use microscopic infractions to test if your boundaries are soft. Recognizing those micro tests it's an essential defense of personal autonomy.
But applying a rigid defensive framework to minor social friction? That turns collaborative workspaces into battlefields. It just isolates the young professional completely.
Well, let's ground this in a reality a lot of our listeners face: tactical time slippage. Say a colleague consistently arrives 10 minutes late to your meetings.
10 minutes is pretty common, though.
It is, but if you suppress your psychological immune system just to avoid social awkwardness, the systemic infection of your autonomy is inevitable. Every casual delay you accept without recalibration shifts the baseline of acceptable disrespect.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it fundamentally rewires how the team views your time and authority.
I think categorizing a 10-minute delay as tactical time slippage is incredibly reductive. Yes, it's frustrating when someone is chronically late or, texts at 8 p.m. when your boundary is 7 p.m.
Very frustrating.
Right. But on the corporate floor, those behaviors are overwhelmingly symptoms of a chaotic, disorganized culture. They are not calculated goalpost shifts. Treat a genuinely overwhelmed colleague as a covert aggressor, and, well, you're taking an aggressive, hostile stance yourself.
I hear that, but how do you differentiate between a manager who is genuinely overwhelmed and one who is actively testing your boundaries? Disorganization doesn't account for the psychological mechanics of manipulation.
So how do you test for that then?
The litmus test here is the shatter point. If you're listening and thinking, wait, my boss is late to my meetings every week, am I being manipulated? The answer lies in their reaction, not just their tardiness. When you finally calmly say no to a late-night email, observe their face.
You mean looking for anger?
Exactly. Flashing anger, silent withdrawal, or cold sarcasm that proves the test is complete. That psychological reaction demonstrates they only respected your compliance, not your autonomy. A disorganized person apologizes, right? But an aggressor retaliates.
Okay, the shatter point is a dramatic metric, but relying on it creates a constant state of surveillance. Think about the social cost here. Consider the concept of the information probe.
The personal questions.
Right. If a colleague asks a personal question about your past mistakes, the defensive mindset labels that as data gathering for your blind spots. If you treat every personal inquiry as hostile data extraction, genuine trust becomes impossible.
But you still have to protect yourself.
Sure, but vulnerability is the bedrock of a high-functioning team. If everyone is terrified of failing a compliance audit, you kill the social cohesion of the group entirely.
I push back on the idea that holding a line kills cohesion, though. Calmly stating a boundary isn't an aggressive act. Doing so without emotional anger is just a necessary mechanism to prevent toxic compliance.
Yeah, but
It simply proves your line cannot be moved. You cannot build a healthy collaborative team without healthy, autonomous individuals.
psychological self-defense matters. Absolutely. But applying a high-contrast defensive script to every single workplace interaction assumes the worst in people. It costs you the benefit of the doubt.
Which is the foundational currency of any successful enterprise, I'll grant you that. We are left with a profound tension between self-protection and collaborative trust.
Yeah, so ask yourself whether you're treating a common cold like a lethal virus. Because if you overreact, you end up attacking the very body of the team you need to survive.
And on the flip side, if you suppress your psychological immune system entirely, you risk a total loss of autonomy. I encourage everyone listening to look at the micro tests in their own lives to find where that line truly sits. There's much more to navigate here, but we will leave it for now.